Hey y'all, how's it going? I'm trading the ES futures on a 2000 tick chart with a 21 EMA. So I've got the overnight high up here and the overnight low down here. These are our key levels for the day. So I started trading at 8 Central Time, or today I started trading a little bit earlier. I started trading right at this swing. And I want to mention, so right when I started trading, I put the overnight low here with the expectation that if we drop on down, I'll adjust it. Because the true overnight low level is this swing down here. But sometimes it's you can blank on things. I don't know how this happened, but I completely blanked on lowering it and accidentally left it here for way longer than I should have. And so I was treating it as if this was the overnight low level, even though it clearly isn't. I mean, it's a nothing swing. But sometimes you might blank on stuff like that. It doesn't happen often, but luckily today it really didn't affect any trade. Particularly this one, it didn't affect it. It actually, which I'll just get into it as we move on. So I should have had the overnight low down here. And anyway, so I had this downtrend right here. At first I had the lows off of these swings, and then we overshot. And when we overshot, you can clear, that kind of made it easier to see that we had this thinner downtrend right here within this wider one. And so as this overshoot occurred, after we started pushing back out, I moved these trend lines down to it, and it actually fit very well right off of the, when I extend the trend lines, the trend line fit very well. The angle was perfect on them. And so then when we got these two legs up measured with a very clear reaction to this upper trend line, I wasn't concerned about this overshoot leading to a break, because overshoots lead to breaks, but in this case here, it ended up fitting very well with the channel, with two measured legs up right to the key entry point with a very strong reaction to it. And also I want to point out here that with this downtrend, I'll remove this just to make it easier to see. We have downtrend with a two-legged break. And so this is very typical. Two-legged moves don't form out of nowhere. We have this two-legged break before getting two attempts to a new low, which is successful, and then a reversal higher. Now, sorry, let me just get that back. So with this trade right here, I had this up here right off of that, level from before, like I said. So, I viewed it as two attempts to fade the overnight level. But if I had it at the correct spot, it's still the same concept. We have two attempts to fade the overnight. Of course, the difference is, I would have known that I was very close to entering into the overnight low here, which wouldn't have bothered me because you clearly still have room for one-to-one. But yeah, I just wanted to mention that here. So this was just a mistake. Luckily, it didn't end too bad today, or it didn't end bad at all for that. But it's just good to stay on top of the overnight levels. But anyway, so moving on here, we bounce off this key entry point. We have two legs down. Now we can draw out this wider trend for it. It's clearly just one on a bigger picture. And I would not want to go long here, not just because at first it's blocked by STT, because this bar closes out. But you just had a very strong reaction to an upper trend line of a downtrend. So when you get a very strong reaction off the key entry point, and then it could very easily be one leg down on a bigger picture, I would not want to enter long immediately after. And notice as soon as you enter long here, it just bounces right off of that key entry point again. So anyway, we push on lower from here. I wouldn't take that short. It's blocked by STT. STT stands for short-term trend line, for anyone who doesn't know. And we push on lower. We start getting choppy around this overnight level. And we eventually push on lower, continue, kind of turns into this range right here. And then we get this leg up, break, we form a second leg up. Now, I wouldn't enter long on here. I see there's a big move, but there's really no way to enter it because let me just draw out this shorter thing really quick. So notice how we have a leg up, a break, and by the time that you're closing back above the overnight low, you already basically have two legs up. It's nearly measured met. So there'd be no point. You'd be entering at the end of a two-legged move, not to mention, this wider channel here does have 1, 2, 3, 4 bounces on it. It's clearly valid. It could easily attempt a new low. Now, yeah, on a channel like this, you would expect a larger break, but that doesn't mean that you can enter at the end of a two-legged move long. Just because you could expect a larger break for the channel, you still need a good setup for it. And so even with that being said, sometimes it'll push down to make a new low for a big channel, very small. a very small picture pushed to a new low, but on a bigger picture would still be part of the same trend. I hope that wasn't confusing. Since it didn't happen, I don't have visuals to show what I just explained, but like say we had a break from this downtrend and push to a new low on a very small picture, such as like this. Yeah, it's technically attempting a new low, but if you zoom out, that would still be all part of the same trend, and you could still possibly get a larger break later on. But anyway, so we push on up here. Let me move this trend line, or this measured move. Lately in the videos, I've been mixing up terms for some reason. Someone commented letting me know, which, like yesterday's video, I called it trend to range, and it's like, But anyway, so we push on up, very strong move. And then here we get this uptrend with a two-legged break. We can expect a new high, just like from over here. We have a downtrend, two-legged break. We can expect price to attempt a new low. Same concept here. It's just a little smaller picture. We have uptrend with a two-legged break, clearly forming some support right here. We break out. Most breakouts fail. And so this is just a one-to-one entry right there. Now we push on up. Uptrend has a break, push to a new high. And this is where I made a mistake here. Because even though the uptrend has a break and a new high, sometimes you'll get two attempts, just like here. Sometimes you'll reverse right after, and I kind of just, I got greedy. I saw the huge bar right here. I said we have a new high. It looks like a trap ticking above that green bar and just shooting back below. So I did risk it, but, it was getting very, very sideways here. And, that has one reason, but also it did only have one attempt. So I shouldn't have combined the fact that it only has one attempt at a new high with the extreme sideways chop right there. I don't really know why I did that, but, that should have been more obvious. But also because I can extend this range from here, and it basically matches along perfectly with it. So, there were some reasons that I could have avoided it, but I kind of got greedy with the, seeing that trap-looking bar there. So I entered, but, didn't end well. So anyway, we have these two legs up. So uptrend has a break, two attempts at a new high, and then after we have the two attempts at a new high, we attempt to reverse back down, and we also start getting this trend line right here. Now, I didn't get this trend line till after this push up right here, so there would have been no way for me to enter this, which I haven't checked to see. We do have, it would have been blocked at this point right here anyway, but it clearly it's still within this channel. These lows are fitting, these highs are fitting. We have 1, 2, 3, but even if I saw this in the moment, I didn't get this trend line here until after we pushed up anyway, and then started pulling back down. So I viewed this as a higher low, and so it's kind of like downtrend break, and we only have these two small attempts at a new low, but it's right off this trend line. It's a failure to reverse, which had to do with this trade. Hold on, I'm going to kind of remove some of these because it's kind of cluttered up, kind of distracted me. So notice how, after this uptrend had a break and two attempts at a new high, we have two attempts to reverse, and then we just push off this trend line. So this is a failure to reverse. So it still is a failure. And so that's why I still like this, even though it was kind of, getting sideways a little bit, and also past that measured move a tiny bit with the target. But, I didn't mind considering the context right off this trend line as well. Now, when we try to reverse down here, of course, there's no entry to go long, in my opinion here, even though you have a second entry long right there. At this point, it's just getting a little bit too sideways overall. So I would just stay out of it from there. But, we do push on up pretty strong there. And then when we reach this upper trend line, when you come off one side of a trend line, for that matter, whether it be a range or a trend line in a channel, you want to see two attempts to reach the other side before you continue with that trend. And so, in this case here, we just get this first entry, which, even if you did have a second entry here, it's right into that trend line. So there'd be no reason to take it. But at this point, we make a new high, and we just have another first entry, right into that trend line. So there's nothing to take, unfortunately. But we continue on higher here. We get these corrections that don't quite reach the EMA until here, which, I didn't view this as anything good. I just saw it as a first entry that got choppy at the end, so that wasn't anything for me. But we do push on up here. We got a first entry here, and then we kind of just get choppy, continue higher a bit before getting this this two-legged break from this uptrend. So with these two legs up here, I just want to show this measured move because, just like yesterday had a major measured move that was perfect, basically to the tick. It was within a couple of ticks measured move. Same exact thing here. So these measure moves are very, very important. You have, this smaller measured move met and then reverses. You have this up measured move right there, and then it reverses back down. Same thing right here with those measured moves. And then same thing right here on a bigger picture. You have a push up, a break, another leg up, measured move, to the tick, reversal. So I just want to mention, and also it's not going to happen every time. Like, look at this measure move. It didn't reverse from there. It's gone quite a bit through. However, I do want to show here, after we pushed on through, look what we did. We pulled back and retested that level. So it's not always going to bounce to the tick, but they are clearly important levels, and it's very important to understand them and draw them. I used to not draw measured moves. I used to be very, very poor with drawing them, but I'm telling you, it's easy to forget to draw them in the moment. Just when you're when you're like looking at your charts, back testing, just draw them everywhere, even if it seems unnecessary. You just got to really draw them in. It's all about repetition, and it's going to seem unnecessary when you draw them all the time, but you just got to draw them all the time until it becomes second nature to kind of see them without even drawing them. I'm not saying not to draw them just because you can see them without it, but you want to get to the point that you can do that if you wanted to. But anyway, so we have this push out. We have two legs up and then just plummet on down. I didn't like how it closed above the EMA. Also with that, so I didn't like entering on that. But we do drop on down. After the break, we have two attempts higher there on a small picture. So uptrend, break, two attempts at a new high led to the second leg on a bigger picture. So, technically in the, as you get those two attempts higher there, it is trying to make a new high for this uptrend. But on this failure, it's actually just forming an even bigger picture two-legged break. And so then you can look for a new high on a bigger picture. Which of course, in this case, we're dropping on down. We could still possibly push back up and get something, perhaps like a big picture failed second entry above the overnight high that could offer a great entry. But yeah, that's going to do it for this video. I hope it helped out in some way. I enjoyed making this video, and thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.